Hey guys, what's going on? Just wanted to do a review of the Tyrollia Attacks. I've had these for a couple seasons now, and I wanted to give my review of them. I will note first that these are the demo version, but they are the same binding for the most part, and I just wanted to go over my thoughts. So the Tyrollia Attacks, they are a great park free ride all-around binding. I have really liked using these in the park, in powder, hitting jumps. These are a great binding for just about everybody, and I'll go over why. So these are near the top of my favorite bindings for a couple reasons. Number one, they are really light, so they pair really well with a light ski like this Candide 3.0. They are much lighter than most other bindings in this category on the market. So this is great for, like I said, free ride, park, anything that requires a really good, durable, strong binding that's going to keep you in the binding. So something that can really take the abuse. These are only up to 13, but I don't weigh as much, so they're fine for me. Maybe you hard chargers might not be able to ride these, but I think for most people, these are going to do just fine. So now going into the specifics of this binding, it's got these toe wheels in here. So the toe piece does open up, side to side like this, much like the Marker Griffin design or Marker Jester design. A non-sliding AFD plate here, but it is pretty slick enough. And on the heel piece, you just have this traditional spring that pops up. The spring is in this internal body here, and it's not on top, so it keeps the weight centered kind of low to the ski, which is something that we'll get into. And the ski brakes do fold up decently well. So we'll talk about the pros and the cons of this binding. The pros, well, first off, the main pro with this binding is the price. The price on these is probably one of the best values on the market. I think you can pick up a brand new pair of these for under $200, and that's a steal because these bindings are really in that upper class of, park, free ride, really will hold you in the binding type of bindings. And for $200, under $200, it's really hard to reach that price point with this performance. The next things to mention are the balanced weight. The weight is really balanced. The weight, like I said before, it's in the heel piece. The spring is down here, so it's close and low to the binding. Same with up here. The toe pieces aren't very heavy, so it really does balance really well. In addition to that, they have a relatively low stack height, much lower than other bindings like the Marker Griffin. They're a little bit higher on this because it's a demo version, but it's still noticeably lower than on the Griffins and other similar bindings, and is more closer to the look pivots, which gives it an additional benefit of feeling like you're more connected to the ski. It makes the ski a little more lively feeling. And when you combine that with the lightness of this binding, it really helps it perform and feel like a really high performance binding. So for if you're going to buy a binding on a budget, this is definitely one of the best. I plan on doing a full review of all my park style bindings and compare and contrast them, but I must say that this binding, if you are on a budget buying a brand new binding, I would highly consider something like this because they're just known to work well, they feel good, and they're definitely beefy enough to get the job done. So now let's go over some of the cons of this binding. The first con, which is kind of obvious, maybe is that there's a lot of plastic on this binding. So as you can see, it's plastic in here. Almost everything on here is plastic. This track is metal, but these are the demo. So a little bit different, but they do have a pretty solid connection point to the ski with little play compared to other bindings. So they are going to wear out significantly faster than other bindings, than say Look pivots, and maybe a little bit faster than some others on the market, but they will perform very well in the meantime. Another con is that these binding brakes, they do fold up, but they don't fold up as well as, say, the Marker Griffins. You can see how there's still a bit of room for them to catch, and sometimes they do catch and get caught. So keep that in mind. Maybe order slightly smaller ski brakes than what they recommend if they'll fit. But they are durable. They are fairly durable. So I haven't broken any of these or had any close calls, but they can get caught on things, which is a major bummer, especially with these hook style brakes. They're rather sharp. They do hook fairly easily on each other while you're skiing. I've had that happen, and then your skis get hooked together, and it's hard to pull them apart. You actually have to step up and pull them over. But that's something minor you can fix. Like I said, maybe if you got ones that were on a smaller ski or a little bit tighter in, you wouldn't have this problem. Besides that, there's not too many cons. Just that they do, other than that, they do scratch rather easier because they have a lot of plastic on them. I take good care of these, and they're already kind of scratched up, but it does hold up pretty well. Another major plus for these is they're easy to step into. So in powder conditions, soft snow, you do any backcountry or not backcountry, but side country with the hike out terrain, you need to clip in and your boots all full of snow, they're easy to clip in. So that is a major plus. They're not very fiddly clipping in. So that's pretty much it with these bindings. They're a very good light option. They're probably one of the lightest choices on the market, and definitely the lightest in this price point. Some things to consider additionally is that these wheels here, you can see now, you can see them, they will most likely square out over time. They'll turn into little squares, and then you'll have play in the toe piece. I believe that's just because they're plastic, and they do have a tiny bit of up and down play in here. It's very minor, though, on the Attacks, which is a lot different than on the Griffins, which tend to wear out these wheels much faster. So yeah, that's basically the gist of these. Couple things to look out for. These are best for intermediate to advanced skiers, and especially good for those younger riders that are going to outgrow their skis, because they're a good choice that's replaceable. So these, depending on how much you ski, how hard you ski, I ski, many days, and I'll probably get 3 to 5 seasons out of these bindings. So most people will get much longer, and that's perfect for younger riders, because they're usually going to be buying new skis every 2 to 3 seasons anyway, because they're going to grow out of their skis. So that being said, this is a great budget binding, and it will do just about everything that all the other bindings will do. in a great performance package. So that's pretty much my review of the Tyrollia Attacks. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comments below, especially if you have these and you agree or disagree with anything that I said. And with that, have a great rest of your week, and I'll catch you out on the mountain.